Hi, so we're going to deploy global and local virtual network pairing on Azure. So let's see how to do that. So we're back on our packet tracer illustration, a diagram, and this is exactly what we're going to do in this video. So we're going to set up two different regions. We have East US and West Europe. And within the East US region, we're going to have two separate virtual networks. We have VNet1 with an IP address range of 10.0.0.0/16, and we'll have VNet2 with 10.1.0.0/16. And we know that devices within each virtual network, that's separate virtual networks, cannot communicate with each other except there is routing taking place. So we have the independent virtual network 1, which would have a subnet 1, and within it there will be a server or virtual machine we'll call VM1. And in the virtual network 2, we'll have a similar situation where we have subnet 2 and would have virtual machine 2 in there. And over here in West Europe, we'll have virtual networks 3 with subnet 3, and inside we're going to have a virtual machine 3. So what do we want to achieve in this video? What we want to do is we want to see that we can set up local network pairing between VNet1 and VNet2 to establish a connection such that the server VM1 can communicate with VM2 and vice versa. And we're also going to set up pairing between VNet1 and VNet3, and also between VNet2 and VNet3, so that there will be communication between virtual machine 1 to virtual machine 3 and between virtual machine 2 to virtual machine 3. So this is what we're going to set up on Azure. So first of all, we're going to create the resource group where all this will belong to, and then we would go ahead to create the various virtual networks in the various regions. So let's go to the Azure portal and see how to do that. So we're back on Azure portal, and we're going to do this using Cloud Shell. So we'll click on that, and we're going to use the bash terminal on Azure Cloud Shell. And first of all, we're going to create the resource group, but I have that already on my repository. That's the Azure Commands repository, and let me just go into bash cmd, that's bash commands. Then we'll go to deploy vnet pairing, and now we can see the various commands which we are going to perform to set up this network. And we have the commands separated in this bash script, so we're going to run them, and we all have all commands in all. So first of all, we're going to create the resource group in East US. So we're going to run the command AZ group create, and the name of the group will be RG Lab 23 and location East US. So we're going to run that as create resource group. So first of all, let's download this repository Azure commands to our bash to our Azure account. So let's do that now. So we're going to say git clone, and I'm going to copy. Let me go back to Azure commands, and I'm copying that HTTPS link, and I will come here and paste and copy that. And now, if I list, I should have Azure Commands repository here as a folder. So let's change directly into it, Azure Commands, and let's list. And now we have bash cmd, just as we have here. So I'm going to click on that, and I'll cd to get into to see the other folders. So bash cmd, and let's list. And now we can see that. And what we want is deploy vnet pairing. So I'll be cd into deploy vnet pairing, enter, and I'll list. Now we have our commands here. So first of all, I want to create our resource group. So let's run that. So we'll say bash create resource group, and now it's created our resource group. And if we come back here and click on resource groups and we refresh, and now we have RG Lab 23, our resource group in East-US setup. So next, what do we have to do? Next, we have to create our virtual 1, and then we'll create the virtual 2 network, that's virtual network 2, and we'll create virtual network 3. And we can see virtual network 1 and 2 will be in East US, and virtual network 3 in West. And if we take a look, we can see here virtual network 1 in East US, virtual network 2 East US, virtual network 3 in West Europe. So to run that, we're going to use create vnet 1, vnet 2, and vnet 3. So let's come back here, and we're going to say bash create vnet 1.sh, and that's done. Then we say bash create vnet 2.sh, and that's done. And we say bash create vnet 3.sh. And now we should have our 3 virtual networks done. So we'll go to virtual networks and let's refresh. And now we have our virtual networks 1, 2, and 3 deployed. And we can see virtual network 1 and 2 in East US and virtual network 3 in West Europe, just as we have here. So next we need to create the virtual machines with the subnets in the various subnets, as we can see here. So let's do that. So how do we do that? We'll come here to run the command create VM1, and we can see create VM2, the same thing, and create VM3, and we specified the subnet here and the location West Europe, and here subnet 2, location East US, subnet 1, location East US. So let's run that, and to do that we'll use create VM1, create VM2, and create VM3. So we'll come back here and let me just clear and list. So what I want is bash create VM1.sh. So to create the first virtual machine, let's do the second one. Bash create VM2.sh, and bash create VM3.sh. And we should see that our VMs should be created. So let me just check that. AZ VM list order in table. Oops, I made a mistake there, sorry. Order in table. And now we can see our 3 VMs have been created, VM1 and 2 in East US and VM3 in West Europe. And if we come, that's what we have here. We can see VM1 and VM2 in East US and VM3 in West Europe. So we've successfully been able to set up the virtual machine servers, and we place them in their individual virtual networks and regions, as you can see here. So now we're going to have to connect, first of all, we'll connect VNet2 to have access to VNet3 so that packets can move from VNet2 to VNet3. And what that means is that we can now connect, we can ping from VNet2, VM2 to VM3, and we'll also be able to SSH into VM3. And when we've done that, we would then set up the local pairing for VM2 and VM1. So let me go back to this, and I want to come to my repository, and we can see that we need to connect the global pair VNet2 to VNet3, and that's from here, VNet2 to VNet3, and this is the global network pairing we're going to run now. So we do that both ways. That means pair VNet2 to VNet3 and pair VNet3 to VNet2. So run the command AZ network VNet pairing create, then we'll name it VNet2 to VNet3, and we'll specify the remote VNet, that's VNet3, because it's going from 2 to 3. Then the resource group, same VNet name, that's VNet2, because that's where our source packets will come from, and we'll allow VNet access. And we'll do the same the other way around, AZ network VNet pairing from VNet3 to VNet2. The remote now will be VNet2, and resource group same VNet3, because we'll be sending packets from VNet3 to VNet2, and we'll allow VNet access. So let's set that up. So we'll come back here and let's exit. So let's list again, and what we want to run, because we want to connect global pair VNet2 to VNet3, let's go back. I'm going to do pair VNet2 to VNet3 and pair VNet3 to VNet2. That's what we're going to do. So bash pair VNet3 to VNet2, run, and that's done. And let's do the next one, bash pair VNet2 to VNet3.sh, and that's done. So if we come back here and we go to virtual networks, let's check out virtual network 2, and let's come to pairings. We can see the connection from VNet2 to VNet3, and it says connected. And if you come to VNet3, we can see the pairings VNet3 to VNet2, and it says connected. So what that means is there is connection both ways between VNet3 and VNet2. and that means we should be able to ping an SSH from VM2 to VM3 now, and from VM3 to VM2. So let's try that. So I'm going to come back here and I'll go to virtual machines, and let me try and SSH into VM2. So connect, SSH, and I'm going to copy this, come here, and let me just clear that. So I'm going to paste that, and as usual, get this off. And yes, I want to connect, and the password. And now I'm connected to VM2. So let's see if we can ping VM3. That's this one here. And that would have 10.2.0.4, 10.2.0.4. And now we can receive a reply. So we're connected, but let's go to VM3. We're going to connect to SSH, and we'll just start, and we're going to SSH into VM3, and we'll paste that. Yes, password admin123 and now we're in VM3. So let's ping VM2 10.1.0.4, and now we have access to that. So let's try and SSH into that, and it's working. Yes, and we put our password, and now we are back to VM2. So it's working. So we've been able to create this. So next, let's set the local network pairing, up connecting VNet 1 and VNet 2. So let's do that. Come back here, and we'll run our script. That's connect local pair VNet 1 to VNet 2 and local pair VNet 2 to VNet 1. And to do that, we would use this pair VNet 1 to VNet 2 and pair VNet 2 to VNet 1. So let's exit and list cd Azure commands list cd bash command list cd deploy VNet pairing list, and we'll run bash pair VNet to 2. So we'll run that. That's done, and list again bash pair VNet 2 to VNet 1, and that is done. So if you come back here and go to virtual networks, and we go to virtual network 1 and go to pairing, you can see now we have connected from VNet 1 to VNet 2, and we go to VNet 2, and we can see now that we have connected from VNet 2 to VNet 1. What that means is there is connection this way, and there is now connection this way. So VM1 can ping VM2, but VM1 can't ping VM3. So let's confirm that. So we'll go to virtual machines, VM1, connect SSH, and copy that. Oops. password and we're in VM1, and if you ping VM2, that should go through. So 10.1.0.4, and you can see it's going through. But when I try to ping VM3, that's 10.3.0.4, and it refuses to go. There's no connection. So we need to create this connection from VNet1 to VNet3 so that VM1 can ping VM3 and vice versa. So we can do that from if we just follow the same for our script, but I'm going to do that now from the portal. So I need to go to VNet virtual networks, go to VNet1 and go to pairings, and now I need to add so that I can connect VNet1 to VNet3 and vice versa. So add. So I'm going to call it VNet. So this is fine. Pairing link name for the remote one is the other way now, VNet1, and virtual network is VNet3. I'm connecting from VNet1 to VNet3 and vice versa, and that's fine. Add. And now we've successfully created our link between VNet1 and VNet3, as you can see here, connected. And if we go to VNet3, we'll just refresh, and now we can see VNet3 to VNet1 connected. So let's try that out. So now we're still in VNet1, VM1, and let's try now and ping 10.2.0.4, and now we can see it's going. So that's VM1 can have access to VM3, and let's try and SSH into VM3. So copy this. Let's see if we can SSH from VM1. Yes, and we can, because we have access now to it. So we're in VM3. So what we've done is we've been able to create the local network pairing and global network pairing between VM1, VM3, and VM2 in this network, and we can now ping and have SSH access through the different VMs in the different regions.